I'm so excited
Yes.
because I had an opportunity to see this young lady in her fullness of working and serving,
Hmm.
and then I got to spend a few days in her presence when she came to visit San Diego. And there's some people you meet and you just sit up there and be like, "Wow,"
They leave an
you know.
impression on you.
Yes, 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 and they're a power couple, but she is, I would say, the senior pastor. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just going to say, Pastor Dre, will you just come on forth and we're going to talk to you this morning. Good morning, Pastor Dre.
Good morning to you. Good morning. I thank you for the grace to be a few minutes late this morning. I got a call, one of those pastoral emergency calls, and I don't know if you've ever been on those calls doing this,
Yeah.
but they
Right.
crying.
Uh-huh.
Right.
They crying. It's like, but I gotta go. I gotta
Right.
go. So thank you for the grace this morning, folks are hot with each other early in the morning.
Yes, yes, yes. And Robert's talking about assassination and everything else.
That's
You know,
why when I popped on, I was like, Lord have mercy. Are they talking about the same conversation I just got off the
we were talking about the hearings.
Yes.
The hearings, and we're just talking about Pope
About
Mike
Don
Pence,
Don.
and Don been tripping, and we like saying Mike need to just go and handle him and just let him
Like the
understand.
Will Smith.
Yeah, yeah, you was wrong, and I just need you to understand that you might talk a good game, but I'm a
Right.
thug.
Right. Right.
right.
So, Pastor Dre, introduce yourself in your fullness of your regalia so that folks will know who we're talking to today and the beautiful ministry that you're over.
Well, I am Andrea Humphrey from Oakland, California,
Wow.
Oakland?
and moved down here years ago to go to college and to in the Valley, Northridge. Met my husband the first week of school at Bible study, leading praise and worship. And we have been friends and then eventually husband and wife for the last almost 34 years.
Wow.
And we were part of a ministry for quite some time, what I call my youthful years.
Uh huh.
And I have this thing where uh, every ministry, every pastor, almost every business person starts off with a mission, a person, and an intention that's pretty much straight and narrow and on point. But without accountability and without the ability to have checks and balances, without integrity. When I first started talking, my hands were on the straight and narrow. But while I was talking, my hands were slowly diverting apart from each other. And that's essentially what happens to many ministries when you don't have that level of integrity or accountability. And so in the gap, people fall in the gap, destruction happens, calamity happens. And that particular ministry was just literally destroyed by foolishness. So we sat around for a while trying to figure out if we threw our youthful lives away. And
Mm-hmm.
somebody said the Holy Spirit ain't broken and the call on your life ain't broken. So you better get to helping broken people. And so
Amen.
we started a ministry called Hope's House. And the church will be 19 years old this September. You're right. I am the lead pastor and visionary. My husband is an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
I have a degree in economics and finance. I have an MBA and I have a doctorate in leadership. And we train and release young people who are now positioned all over the world, serving, pastoring, worship leaders, you name it. We have 5 churches that have come out of our church. They are not our churches. They are their churches. We are resources to them if they need anything. But they're theirs. It's not, Hope's House, Houston, Hope's House, this,
Right.
whatever you want to call it, whatever God's calling me to do. We are here to support that. I worked at Disney for 20 years in international finance for quite some time, and then eventually as an executive coach for Parks and Recreation. I have a consulting company. I was a professor at CSUN for 12 years in the School of Business. Again, young people, and giving them a real taste of real world, not just that book over there, but this is how it gets down in the real world. So
Okay.
that's kind of who I am.
So I'm gonna jump in here, because you're from Oakland. So tell
Okay.
tell me how an Oakland. Now, and well, first of all, where did you live in Oakland? Because see, that's gonna tell us a lot. Because see, if you live in the Oakland Hills, that's gonna say something. But if you lived around East 14th Street, then that's gonna tell us something too.
Bruh, 92nd and Cherry, down
Okay.
in the flatland by Elmhurst,
Mm-hmm.
not far from Castlemont. Now, I did go to Bishop O'Dowd High School, but that's only because my dad was one of the biggest drug dealers in town.
Okay, see, I'm feeling you on that one
See?
because I went to Berkeley, so I
Okay.
was in the Bay Area for 6 years, and the first school that I actually mentored at was Castlemont High School.
I told you when we talked, when we called that back in the day, that was herpes high, man.
Yep. And see, that's
His
the whole.
face, you see his face?
Jesus.
And see, that was the funny thing because I was excited about getting to high school, and they said, well, they call it herpes high. I said, why? They said they got like 75% STDs going on.
Jesus.
There. And I lived on, I had left the campus. I was living on East 14th Street. Every time I told them I lived at East 14th and Fruitville, everybody like, you in the hood.
You was in the hood.
But for me, it just felt like home. Walking to and fro from the BART station and everything like that. You never felt threatened because you felt like you're in the community. Mm-hmm. So for me, I really never planned to leave the Bay Area because I love the culture and the music and the church. But then God called me back home. What called or had you stay in the Southern California area, not draw back to your home area?
It was real easy. Upon completing college, we got married, but we were already engaged in ministry. Mm-hmm. We were already running a Bible study with 150 students on CSUN's campus. And really, literally, the call of God, placed us here. I firmly believe that God places people in the body as it pleases him, not mm-hmm. always how it pleases you.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so the call to be here in this space was a strong one. And so, as we launched, it just kept growing and growing and growing. And the fruit of God's commentary to us was evident.
Okay. What drives or drove you to be so, what's the word I want to use for you? Because I've watched you from afar and from close, because you're very close to my family with Tanya and John DeCure. You're so ambitious, and you.
Well, I got a word for you.
What is it?
Swagalicious.
She is swagalicious. She is swagalicious.
Yes.
But just her heart and passion for education and to do more, especially coming from where you've come from.
Yeah, I think it is because of where I come from, right? I had two worlds in front of me. I had the drug dealing world, mm-hmm. And let me be real clear: suited and booted drug world, mm-hmm. not street corner,
right?
Suitcase,
right.
Cadillac, high end
right.
athletes. I won't name any,
right.
So I don't get sued for slander.
Right.
But high end athletes. That was the drugs to those people. And then I went to Bishop O'Dowd High School, which is the top parochial Catholic high school in town. So you have the dichotomy of these two worlds happening simultaneously. Mm-hmm. And I knew which world I didn't want to be a part of. Mm-hmm. Right. I also realized how critical it was to give kids an opportunity to explore. I went to Europe when I was 15. It was a gift from my godmother. I was in Europe most of the summer. So I was in Germany and Spain and Italy and France. And so I saw that everybody's not American. Everybody's not, Oaktown. Even there's a different version of Christianity, mm-hmm. right? And that opened my mind and gave me opportunity to see something different. And so for me, exposing people to something different so that their worldview and their thinking gets out of that limited box mm-hmm. Is really critical from a gospel perspective and from a natural perspective. My heartbeat is the intersection between ministry and the marketplace. I think both are critically important and feed the other.
Wow.
So let me ask you this question now. You're a pastor, you're a doctor, you're very swagalicious, you're very successful, mm-hmm. you're married, you have children.
And she's innovative.
All of that. But when I first met you and saw you, you were serving as if you were an assistant. Explain that one to me.
I think the heart of it is servant leadership, my friend. Mm-hmm. The greatest in the kingdom is the servant, mm-hmm. right? And if you can't serve, I don't know how you lead effectively. Wow. Because I need to have empathy and understand the servant position in order to lead somebody somewhere. That scripture, the blind leading the blind, mm-hmm. and they both fall into the ditch.
Yeah.
I don't want no part of that.
I know that's right.
the first person who's blind has no business leading anybody anywhere, right, in their blind state. And so part of that is having an understanding of what it's like to serve and to be humble enough that you can sit at the head of the table as well as get up and take the garbage out if you need to.
Okay, so here's the thing. Now, a lot of people might, this might be their first introduction to you, but I'm going to call you, I don't want to say, because there's a lot of churches in the LA area that a lot of the stars go to. But they go there because it is, what's the word? It's, it's Gucci, if you will. But can I use that? You know, ooh, I got a little hip hop on me right there. But you got people that are superstars in your church, and they literally are members of your church, workers in your church. How do you pastor those people that are always used to being catered to?
I think because of the authenticity and the relatability of how we teach the word and how we keep the emphasis on the only superstar in this place is Jesus himself.
Come on.
We don't have a hierarchy for the pastors. We don't come in a cloud like a prize boxer, you know what I mean, with a swarm of people all around us.
Theme music.
Yeah, and the only way you see us is up on the jumbotron, you know. You're like, oh, Pastor got a new pimple because you can see it. No, we are relatable. We're in the space with everybody. We're probably the last people to leave the church. Most of the people have our cell phone number because I still believe in old school, old-fashioned pastoring, the way they did in the old days. I want to be in the grocery store, and if you see me, I don't want to have two guards on me. Back up.
Right.
Pastor, I just don't particularly believe in that philosophy of shepherding. So I think it's the authenticity and the relatability and the fact that they don't have to be anybody but somebody at the foot of the cross when they come to Hope's house.
Amen.
She has soul.
Yeah.
And we talk about soul music and all that kind of stuff. I've been around you, and I talk to you and I laugh with you, but I watch. You have soul. And what person in history, black history, did you admire or do you admire? Because you come to mind of the Harriet Tubman for me, because you pull people, and you go and you get people, and you keep going back getting people.
You saying she got a gun?
Well, she might. the gun of Jesus.
The 6-shooter of the Bible.
Right.
Praise the
Lord. If it were biblically speaking, it would be Joseph.
Okay.
Because it's just been through a lot. And the setup was similar. I got called at 17, but didn't fully step into my calling till late in my 30s. And there was a whole lot of pits and foolishness along the way. If it's in the natural, I have this weird position in life. I'm female, but I function most often in a man's world. And my husband is the most amazing guy ever because he's secure in who he's called to be, and he doesn't put his foot on my neck and do all of that to make sure that I don't outshine him, whatever that's supposed to mean. But I think historically speaking, I don't know if I have a female historically that I look at. I appreciate Michelle Obama in this season, and how she loves her man, how she supports him, how she relates to him, but how she is very much her own person with her own agenda, and her own impact in the world. So if I had to pick somebody more modern day, that's who it would be.
What about a male?
She did. She said Joseph.
No, we talking about in the natural world.
Okay.
In the natural, I don't know who that would be actually. I'm kind of a enigma in the sense that I'm asking God to chart my own path.
Yes.
And not that there's no one to follow or nobody's doing it well.
Right.
But I've always sat in a box that just didn't look like anybody around me that I could identify with. And sometimes, to be honest with you, that's a lonely place, to be honest. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tease you because, you say you operate in a man's world, but I kind of watch the energy between you and your husband, and it's still that husband wife, that smile, that feminine wifely presence, and I thought that was just amazing because I've watched you do things and have men scared because your skill set is so tight. But when you guys get together, it is just all you all as husband and wife and your energy. So I applaud you for that. Let me ask this question. Now, with all the things that you've gone through, I believe you have two beautiful daughters?
I have two incredibly beautiful daughters.
So explain, okay, how did you navigate, because I have one daughter and a granddaughter in this industry, and I'm navigating, doing all this service and everything else with them. How did you navigate your children through all of the, I'll say, the swaggerlicious that you have so that they have their own swag?
A couple of things. One, we very intentionally decided that we would not put the pressure on them of being a PK. We didn't make them dress in the girly dresses. We didn't care what the people at the church thought or what their perspective was. Once or twice a year, I would literally get up and I would let the congregation know that the people who can speak into my kids' life know exactly who they are. And if you're sitting there and you're wondering if I'm one of them, you are not, because those that know who they are know who they are. So if you see them doing something, if you don't appreciate something, if you see them in a crop top, you know what I mean? If you see something on their IG page, trust there's somebody there in their lives speaking to that as well as us. And you don't need to do that. Just pray from a distance. So we gave them the latitude and the grace to be all that they were created to be. My youngest daughter, she's not really feeling church right now. My 16 going on 17-year-old. She's just like, church people are a trip. I'm not sure, this version of Christianity I want to subscribe to. And I'm perfectly okay with that. God is big enough to reach my child on his terms at his moment in time that he's foreordained for her to have an encounter with him. Now, some pastors would cram that down, their kids' throats. But I'm okay, and I trust God enough to know that at some point in time, she'll have an experience with him. And hopefully the lifestyle that we've lived, and she agrees, you guys have been great pastors. You love people like crazy. I think you love them too much, she says. But I believe at some point, the Bible says, train them up in the way they should go. When they're old, they will not depart. And that if we believe, our whole house will be saved. So, and I'm not that super spiritual woo-woo scripture for every person, but there's some principles that I firmly believe in, and I trust God for.
I laugh because I believe your 16-year-old is sitting up here like, I know I'm going to have to come back because I already know what's been sown into me. But right now I'm going to be like this, and I'm going to see what mama and daddy going to do. And you just throwing her all off her game because you're like, all right, baby.
Okay.
We understand. We'll get you.
Right.
It's between you and God. You and God.
Right.
Absolutely. And listen, she's gracious. She goes to church. She doesn't talk back. She's not doing anything crazy. Just when you talk to her and you ask her about what you believe in, what, in God, she goes, I'm still trying to figure that out for myself.
Right.
Really gracious with it. And she goes to church with us every Sunday. No kickback. No, I don't want to go. She's engaged. But I know there's a process for her spiritually that's happening in her heart.
Right.
And it's deep.
Okay, now she's engaged in church, y'all.
In church.
Not
engaged to be married.
When you said engaged, everybody like, she's getting ready to get married.
No, engaged in what's going on.
So tell me about that other excellent, I believe she's in college.
Yeah. Lauren is 20. She's going to be a junior at Howard University, a psych major. Brilliant kid. Came out the womb. I promise you, I can't really take credit for it. She came out responsible. I wish people could see when I say they took the best of all of my ancestors, because they both are beautiful in the sense that they could be models, tall, statuesque, the whole 9 yards. She's really into mental health. So in fact, she's doing a symposium on August the 6th for high school and college students dealing with suicide, anxiety, and depression, helping young people get through that, because that's her heartbeat.
Wow.
And just really incredible. She works for the community development center that I own. She runs programming, and she's a beast already at 20.
That's important, because in this culture now, we are seeing more African American young people commit suicide. We used to all sit back and say, "Oh, those crazy white people, they just kill themselves. They just shoot up everybody." And some of that is true, but it's really affecting the brown and African American culture more now than ever for young people.
Yes, sir. You're absolutely right.
So one of the reasons why I wanted to interview you is because you left a lasting impression on me. Your energy, like I said, your swaggerliciousness, the way you talked about your children, the way you were around your husband. It was like not only were you prophetically and spiritually a light, but also in the business realm and in this industry, you are a light and you're a guiding force. Can you share about what you're doing for young people to help them in the industry?
Oddly enough, I just had a meeting last night with two young people who are starting a new company, trying to create an integral environment for young artists to produce excellent quality music, poetry, spoken word, all the things. They asked me to be on the board. In addition, literally yesterday, a weird day yesterday, but I was asked to be on the board of a transition house that's expanding for young people coming out of the foster care industry who've now been emancipated,
Awesome.
but still don't have anywhere to live, but want to go to school. And so, so I'm engaged in a number of elements through our community development center, particularly in the arts, because the arts, have been pulled out of schools,
Yes.
budget cuts and everything. So we literally have a dance studio in our church building. We have a dance team that has competed and won first place in showstoppers at Disneyland and competitions everywhere.
Oh, you're not talking about the liturgical dance. You're talking about dance.
We have a worship dance team, and they're a beast as well. But we have a hip hop team with our young people because they're not interested in liturgical dance when they're 8 through 15.
No.
And so we have professionals in the church that train them. We've had a acting consortium that ran and did master plays for young people for years. We do tutoring. There's all kinds of things within the community development center. So what we did is we have the church, but we also have the community development center, which of course has a Christian base to it, but that's not the tag on the front of it, so that anybody in the community can come. So like in the holidays, we have 800 people from all over the place, Muslim, Jehovah's Witnesses, anybody can come to our holiday extravaganza, and they're going to get the love of God,
Right.
Without getting God crammed down their throat, right? And we just minister to the kids, we minister to the families, and it's an opportunity for us on that side of the house to impact our community without it being on the church side. Also keeps us out of trouble with the government, right?
Right.
Where we have that separation, and we have the ability to get grants,
Right.
And people give to that side. So literally on Sunday, we gave away 11 high school scholarships to graduating seniors at our church who are all headed off to HBCUs this year. I'm so proud of that.
Yes.
We had a couple of major scholarship winners, and then two, and then we had 9 graduates. They were not scholarship winners, but as a church, we just blessed them with enough money to pay for their books or their meal plan or something at their school, so that they know they're supported from home and that we've got their back, and we're not just talking about go and be good. Here, how can we support you? So we're doing things like that in the community. And half of these kids didn't go to our church, by the way. You don't have to be part of our church to participate in anything we do. It's kingdom-minded.
So let me ask you a question. Now, this is a rumor, and you
always got a rumor.
You could dispel this.
Jesus.
You could dispel this rumor or not, but I heard that at one point with your hip hop dance team, you got in there and you boogie with them.
Every now and again, I would step into the dance studio and just show them where my daughter's a dancer, where she got it from, just so everybody understood. Her rhythm came from Oaktown.
She got it from her mama.
Yeah.
She got it from her mama. I love how she's so relatable, period. And I appreciate how you support and take care of my cousin, Tanya and John. They're very, very dear to me because their mom was my mentor. I started promoting concerts and meeting James Cleveland, Walter Hawkins, Keith Pringle through her. So the seed was planted because my dad was Mother Finch DeCure's Uncle Daddy. And she was in my dad's first group. So it kind of kept going in a circle. So I appreciate you because you've always looked out for them like they were your own family. And that says a lot about your family and your character.
They are my family. John DeCure and I just got back from Nigeria 2 weeks ago. We spent 11 days ministering in Nigeria, in churches, in community centers, in hospitals. We had the opportunity to do some transformational leadership stuff. And we literally just played off of each other, back and forth. He would speak for a couple seconds, and John is crazy, so he would go, and I think Dr. Dre got a little something to say on that, and he would just literally throw the baton to me, and then I would go for a while. This is like a 4-hour church service.
Wow.
Or transformation leadership seminar, and we had the best time, and we saw lives being impacted. I got a chance to see Muslims convert to Christianity. Wow. Got the opportunity to minister to some women who were really in a tough place, and got a chance to minister to some pastors' wives who, oddly enough, are not being treated well because it's extremely patriarchal environment. And so, that's my buddy. That's my road dog. And when we get together, good God things happen.
Yes, they do.
So let me ask you this question.
Yes, sir.
And this is just a rumor, and I want you to dispel it again.
Jesus.
Now they call you Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
She's the real Dr. Dre.
Have you ever had to have a conversation with that other Dr. Dre and explain to him why that he had to get permission to use his Dr. Dre?
No, sir. No, sir. And the way I explain it is that I may not be the original, but I'm doggone sure the authentic one. I got papers and receipts to back it up.
Come on through. And the work to show it. How about that?
So tell us this. Tell us what's up next for you, because I don't ever believe that. I know you sleep, and I know that you take time to do self-care, but what's up next for you in this journey?
I'm hoping, please pray for me. I have a book called Coaches, Comrades, Cheerleaders, and Champions, and not all in that order. But I believe every person needs a cheerleader.
Yes.
We have tons of them. They may not be in the same genre as you. They may not be doing anything with their lives,
right.
But oh my God, they see you and they cheering you on. That's my boy. That's my dog. That's my girl. And they're pushing you. And then every person needs a coach to get to the next level. And we have different ones over the course of life. Everybody needs comrades. Again, may not be in the same space as you, but they understand the hustle and the grind, and you can commiserate with them. And then every person needs a champion, somebody who already has a seat at the table, who pulls a chair out for you. So I'm working on a TED Talk. And then hopefully the book will be done and completed by September and released. So that's one. Two, I have a consulting company where I'm consulting churches and startups, because we're church planters, and helping pastors in this season where there's a decline in Christianity. We've had 55 people join our church in the last 2 months.
Jesus.
And so where churches are doing this, our church is doing this. And I don't say that braggadociously. We're trying to figure out what that element is. And we do believe it is the authenticity and the relatability and the how do I live this out gospel that we're trying to implement. And so I do consulting for churches and helping them with their leadership development. That's big on my list right now.
Wow.
Is how do we impact and influence and engage and empower the next generation? Because as most of you know, if you look at the statistics, Christianity is dying out, and young people and people in particular are not interested in the church. Wow. So much calamity and tragedy and sexual abuse and lying and stealing and adultery and all the things have given the church really a black eye. But I believe that the church has always survived. It's come through so many different things. But I believe we have to be on the front line of raising up the next generation and helping them be grounded and have their feet on solid ground. So that's my heartbeat right now.
Wow.
I'm writing, I'm speaking. I'm headed to, where am I going? South Africa. I'm preaching like 7 or 8 times in South Africa in August, Zambia in September, Uganda and Kenya in December, and then a few places in between here in the States. So between that and pastoring the church and rebuilding it, I have a pretty full plate between writing, speaking, and pastoring. And then, of course, my beautiful girls and the hubby. So I have a pretty full plate right now.
So I got a favor to ask. Can I ask a favor?
Yeah.
I would really love if she is available for your oldest daughter to come and do an interview because I would love to talk about, her whole take on ministering or reaching out to young people with the mental health.
Yes, it's real.
Would love to have that happen. And I appreciate you giving the time. I know your schedule is very, very packed, and I had to squeeze in between your next appointment. But I thank you so much for sharing. I don't want this to be your last time coming on and sharing with our listeners. Everybody, pastors, everybody like, okay, now give us her name again. Where's she at? And, it's bad when even my brother's texting me now. Give me her name. I just got online. I heard, So people are very, very interested in your ministry and also your vision. And so we don't want this to be your last. Robert?
I just appreciate her. Every time I see her, she's always loving, and I see her a lot. She's very supportive to people that are doing things. She's not a person who's with fluff, and she don't waste her time. So I do appreciate that, and we thank you for sharing this moment with us. This is very, very powerful.
Thank you. I'm honored. I'm honored when you first mentioned, because I'm just doing what I do. You know what I mean? It doesn't translate the way it comes across sometimes to other people. I'm just doing my best to get to heaven, take as many people with me, and along the way, let's live our best lives.
Come on,
and let's lead the next generation.
Oh, I have one more question. Are you still doing stuff with Cal State Northridge? So when she says K-Sun, y'all, that's California State Northridge.
Yeah, absolutely. I am. My husband is on the board for a number of different diversity organizations, and then they have a thing called Black House, where it's just a house where the African American students and people of color can go hang out and feel safe and feel at home. We're about to start a Bible study in Black House. We started the church in my home, by the way, 19 years ago, in my living room with college students. And so we're going back to the campus and restarting a Bible study there after the pandemic, because we had to shut everything down. And using the Black House, which is set up like a house, to do Bible study. We're going to feed them. We're going to teach them the word. We're going to help them start businesses. We're going to help launch their careers where we can, and see them flourish, like the last group that we've released all over the world.
So my last rumor, I promise this is my last rumor.
You and this rumor.
I know we got to pray for his deliverance. We got to pray for his deliverance, all these rumors.
No, I mean, because she in Hollywood, so I just got to ask this question. There is a show called All American, and then there's a show called All American Homecoming. My question is, when the professor brings the kids over for that dinner scene, is that a duplication of how your kids would come over when they were in college, or the kids would come over to college to your house? Did they copy your brand? I just wanted to know,
Listen, I don't know. I do know a couple of our members are on that show, by the way. And I've only seen a couple of episodes, but when kids would hang out at our house, we have a pool, we had a gym in the backyard. We just fed kids and just listened more than anything, and answered questions, and just was available for them to be themselves with no judgment about whatever they were into, and allowing ourselves to just really be a resource. I think that's a critical element right now, is being a resource to this next generation.
Well, I appreciate you, Dr. Dre, for coming on and giving us the time. Hold a chicken wing out for me. Me and Robert gonna come up there soon and have a good time with you. Know that your guys in San Diego will always have you.
Oh, yes.
And please know, if there's any service that we can do for you, we will be there. All you gotta do is call, and Robert O'Dean will hop in his Pinto. And we will be. Oh, it's not a Pinto.
No,
it's a Ford Focus.
Ford, yeah.
We go hop
Ford
in this
Fiesta.
We're gonna hop in this Ford
Fiesta. And we not riding that because I don't like to drive. You're gonna drive. Praise the Lord.
He gonna tell me. He gonna drive it over to my car. He gonna say, "Get out," and we go.
There you go.
And we gonna be together.
I'm praying for y'all.
Please keep on, please.
Well, there you have it. You have it. We just know her as Dr. Dre from Hope's House.
Yes.
We want you all to continue to check her out. Check out her website. Check out her. I want to say, is it called a CDC or is this a nonprofit?
Hope Community Development Center, HCDC, Hope Community Development Center. Yep.
There you go. Check it out for you pastors and people that are looking how to expand and reach this new generation of young people. Tap into Dr. Dre. She got getting a book coming out. She speaks. She all over the world. We don't even know when she sleep, but what we do know, she do it all well. She a mama. She a wife. She a pastor. She a friend.
She's a
executive, a consultant. Woo, I'm tired. But I want you to know God is not tired, and he's continuing to use her. And this, Robert, we're just going to say right here on GOD Radio 1.
.com.
We're going to get back to